Time for an experiment with no idea what it's going to show. But at this point about a superior mirage has come up repeatedly. The story goes that a chap stood in the Pyrenees on the border between, I probably shouldn't say where it's the border because I might upset someone, on a peak in the east end of the Pyrenees, looking northeast across the southern France into the Alps, and managed to take a photograph of a mountain some daft distance away, which is normally invisible behind the curve of the Earth. How the heck do you take a photograph of a mountain that's hidden behind the curve of the Earth? Well, if you look into the story in more detail, it also says the photographer had to choose just the right day and waited quite a long time to get just the right conditions. It would really help if this was in focus. You're not going to see a damn thing there if it isn't. Focus on the lines. The lines, I tell you, what I've got here is not the curvature of the Earth. Thought I'd better clarify that. You know, it's a damn lightweight tripod. It's actually the lid of a saucepan sitting on the stove. No shit, Sherlock. This ain't gonna work if the camera doesn't focus on the right bloody distance. Lovely crisp view of the saucepan lid, and it's not focusing on the lines. Now, at the moment the saucepan is still cold, but I've just turned the heat on. So I'm thinking that, oh there we go, that for a moment did focus. It'll work it out eventually, you know. Eventually this camera will come to the conclusion it ought to be focusing on something, and you'll be able to see the fucking graph paper. When all the trouble of taping a piece of graph paper to the wall, now the camera isn't focusing on it. Okay, this experiment may get aborted simply by the fact that the camera ain't doing its job. Right, pull. Yes, that vibration affects me pulling the tripod back. Probably making really weird noises. Pull back further. Tell the camera ain't quite level, but and tilt to there. We're back to the view we had originally, and I can zoom in further, and then the lines disappear. Focus on the wretched frigging lines. That's some more light on the subject. That will really not help at all. Those lines. Camera, those are lines. Focus on them. Man, I've got to buy myself a Nikon P900. Apparently those things can show you like all kinds of stuff. Just for a second there, you had it. Come on. That's the side of the saucepan. That's the lid. Jesus Christ. It's going to boil over before you figure it out. How hard can it be? Alright, I'm going to zoom out just a little again. And see that? Yeah, I look up there, it gets it right. Spots of stuff on my old piece of graph paper. Look there, it can focus on the pan just fine. Look there, it's no clue what I'm trying to do. What am I trying to do? I swear I am not touching the focus. This thing is entirely autofocus. It doesn't have a manual focus setting. If it had, this would be working fine. There! Lines! Lines on graph paper. Hallelujah, they can be photographed. Good grief. 4 minutes and 25 seconds in just to get the bitch of a camera to focus. Hey. Anyway. Those beeps way back at the start were when I turned the hob on. So that pan is getting hotter. And at the moment you can see straight lines of disappearing behind a curved piece of glass which proves bugger all. I'm just thinking, give it 10 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't know. At some point, maybe the hob heating the pan, heating the water in the pan, heating the air above that water will heat the lid, and that'll heat the air above the lid, and that might just start to cause refraction. Alternatively, you could look at the opening to High Plains Drifter and just look at the heat haze where they filmed that, and that would show you refraction, but heat haze happens all the time, and it happens in vertical wavy lines, not in this layered effect that I'm hoping to see. You can also see heat haze if you just look at the stars and watch them twinkling, because heat haze is white. But heat haze ain't a special weather condition. And generally speaking, if you see heat haze, you see heat haze. It's there in my long shots along the runway at Linton on Ouse. It's just there is heat haze. You don't get to see it appear. You do get to see condensation forming on the lid because it's a transparent lid. And that's going to boil over if I don't turn it down. That has now reached boiling point and I'm seeing no change, at least on this tiny little 3x2 inch screen. Cut out some of the ambient noise. But the lid won't be hot yet. I should have thought of this, you know, I should have set up a karaoke game in the background so I could sing to you while we're waiting. Could still do that. Or I could have used an empty pan and just let it get really, really hot, but that's probably a bad idea. I should point out that no matter what we see here, it's nothing like an accurate simulation of conditions over the Mediterranean at midsummer or whenever that photo was taken. Because, you know, I don't have hundreds of square kilometres of shallow salt water exposed to the sun and the whole plain of southern France and all those other little details. There's no River Rhone running in between me and those lines. I'm just hoping that by creating a hot layer of air above that lid, I'll be able to at least get visible distortion of the lines. That rattling sound is due to the way the induction hob works. It's on, starts to rattle, turns off, gives it a few seconds, clicks on, heats up, starts to rattle, clicks off, a few seconds wait. It only actually has one power setting instead of a different size of flame underneath it. It has just more or less of the time actually spent on. Which means when you're hearing the rattle, or you hear click, rattle. Click, it's getting hotter, the steam pressure inside is rising. When it rises high enough to lift the lid is when you hear rattling. When it turns off, it cools down a little, the steam pressure cools and it stops rattling, drops and it stops rattling. So if we're going to have a demonstration of hot air refraction, it's going to have to happen in the seconds just after it stops rattling, when we know the lid isn't moving, and that's not what's causing it. Or I could go and find a concrete breeze block and put that on top of the lid to hold it down, but I don't really want to do that to my pan. Well, it's been hot for quite a while. I'll probably hurt myself if I try to touch it at the moment, so that's probably good an effect as it's going to get. I'm going to see anything on this. It'll be while the bloody camera is in focus. Yeah, I can see what's going on. See anything at all right now. Good thing about having everything level is that you can just drag a tripod backwards without losing your lineup. And that's as close up a view as I'm going to get. Now if it is waving at all on the screen, it'll be more visible on a full-size computer screen than it is on this camera. This current shape is me adjusting the camera. Oh, thank you. Very sensitive when it's zoomed that far in. Check the bit above the handle. It's a chunk of metal and ought to be conducting heat up to the atmosphere better than the glass. Better than the thinner glass or worse? That's a good question. I believe there is visible heat haze there. So we have got heat haze effect. I was really hoping for a boundary layer distortion. For God's sake, how hard can it be? What do you think you're focused on, camera? Nothing in view is in focus. Right, put it that side. Can you focus on that side? Well, if anything to me, that now looks like the opposite of the described effect. what we're seeing here is a bit of graph paper that's behind the surface of the lid, stretched downwards. If you look at the left side of the screen, the parallel lines for 2 centimetres, those are 2mm squares and 1 centimetre bold squares. So those 2 centimetres on the left are mostly parallel, but then about 16mm in, but from the bold line near the left side, they start to spread. The black line at the bottom starts to spread downwards, and a little further across, the red one seems to dip. This might just be my imagination. It looks to me as if the hotter air nearest the lid is... I bet you can't actually focus my finger well enough for me to point it out here. Yeah, you can't. But the hottest air nearest the lid is giving us the inverse of that mirage effect. Those lines don't even look like they're equidistant. I did draw them along the lines, but I was using Sharpies, they're not precision instruments. But between the black, red and blue right at the very bottom, those lines seem to be further apart just before they go out of sight than they do further up. Which to me says we've got the inverse of the superior mirage. Why would this happen? Because light coming this way from the paper and hitting the camera, which is how you can see anything here, is slowed down by passing through the denser, cooler air higher up, more than it is slowed down by passing through the hotter, less dense air right next to the lid. And that means the light coming off the paper that is on its way across the top of the lid gets deflected upwards. Right? So light that's actually clearing the lid is going over you, and light that's well clear of the lid is hitting the camera. That doesn't make any bloody sense at all. Well clear of the lid is going way over the camera. But of course you didn't. Let me try again. Well, just think of it the other way. Think of it as lines, rays of sight line coming out from the camera. The ones that are passing just over the lid are distorted upwards. So a straight line over the top of the lid to that would actually hit the red where it's just out of sight, but because of the distortion, because of the heat difference, you're looking at white paper just above the red line. And likewise further left, you would be seeing the black. Because of the distortion, you're only seeing clear paper. Let me leave this camera exactly where it is and turn the heat off. I'm going to have to capture stills from this and compare them to see whether there is actually a change in the angular positions. Just leave it running for now. Check later, see whether anything's happened. It's gone out of focus now, which kind of spoils the whole project. Speculation. Could the distortion become more severe because the heat has been turned off Therefore the air is less turbulent, therefore the hot and cool layers are mixing less. Alternatively, could it be that we're seeing reflections in the edge of the lid, not the actual lines? How would I test that? I would get some plain black paper and stick that to the lid. I don't have any plain black paper to stick to the lid. And this camera ain't going to focus. Alright, I shall go with stills from after the last time I dragged the camera back, and from just before I walked forwards to turn the power off and see whether there's any change. Sorry, I'd have liked to have done better than that.